Hello there. I just fell over in my room, tripped over the camera, and I just do those things. That's what I'm like. I'm just clumsy like that. Anyway, good eppy, as always, with your boy. And it takes me a clean 30 minutes every episode to get into the juice. And this episode, let me summarize it. I talk about a few things I've heard about and what I've experienced personally over the last 3 months or 2.5 of just being a process guy. And I hope it helps. I hope you enjoy it. And if not, I'll catch you later. There's always more episodes. That's the beauty of it. So, thanks for being here. You're a legend. Let's get in the eppy. Na.
I'm almost famous. Chill out, mom, I'm doing it my own way. I'm almost famous. I'll freak off yet, I'll make my money someday.
What up? Special shout out to the 25 to 50 people who watch the YouTube video that's getting a view of this absolute look right now. What would I say? What do I call this look? I'm wearing my cousin's sunnies, and I'm gonna be honest, they're quite aggressive, and they don't look that aggressive when he wears it because they kind of match his. He just wears these style of sunnies, and I've never thought anything about it. But when I put them on, let me paint a picture here. I'm taking a look in the camera. At a big douche level, crank the douche knob way up. I got a beanie on. I don't know why I have a beanie on as well. I'll tell you why I'm wearing the sunnies, because it's fucking bright in here. I got 2 lights blaring in my face and the sun coming through the window because it's sunrise. I'm doing this Wednesday morning. Let me see. See if I can get you a little pic so you can get a little glimpse-aroo of what I'm looking at here. Little sunrise surprise. Nice little view of the city there. I'll put that in the video too. But yeah, it's cool. Let's just say it's quite bright. I'm getting hit from all fucking angles here. So I would normally put on my own sunnies if I didn't run them over a few weeks ago. I don't know if I said that on the pod. I did the old sunnies on top of the car routine. And it's quite an embarrassing... you know what it was? It was... I went to the gas station. This was a few weekends ago. Maybe 3. I don't even remember. To fill up jerry cans for the snowmobiles for a first ride. You know, I was distracted. I don't really fill up jerry cans that often. I don't really know the deal. I pull out like 5 jerry cans because I don't have one big one. And the sunnies fell off my head. I lifted them up because I needed to see inside the jerry's, make sure I don't overfill them. So I'm like, I'll just put them on top of the car so that doesn't happen again. And I even made like a little, like, you know, sometimes you do a self-reminder. You're like, make sure you don't forget those up there. Like I was smart enough to like be like, you would forget those, so don't forget those. I was like, all right, you big old dumb bitch. And 5 jerry cans later, I hop in the car and I drive away, and I'm just playing my tunes, just bopping down the road, and I'm like, oh, it's kind of bright. And then I'm like, right, of course, it's bright. What would I need? My sunnies. My sunnies were on top of the car. Cranked a Fast and the Furious handbrake turn. I was 10 minutes down the road, and I was like, you know what? I was thinking that they would have fallen off right in the parking lot. And I was like, oh, you know, there's still a chance. There's a chance. 10 minutes. So by the time I get back there, it would have been 20 minutes pushing it. Someone either might have stolen it, run over it, but I still had hope. You know, this is a country gas station. You never know. And I pull up, and they're nowhere. I'm like, someone must have stolen them. I don't even see them squish. So that the only explanation is they're stolen. I go into the gas station. I'm like, did anyone return a pair of sunnies? She's like, no. I'm like, all right, too bad. And I pull out the exact way I went to pull out, and they are sitting in the middle of the road are a couple shiny bits of my favorite pair of... You know what? I'd love to put a montage up now of all the good good photos I had with those sunnies. Rest in peace. They were my favorite sunnies. And now I'm wearing my cousin's because he left them at my cottage last time he was here in the summer, and now he lives in BC, so they're fucking mine now, buddy, as well as your toiletry kit. I don't know why you left an entire toiletry kit. I feel like that's like a big pack, but yeah, no, I got these sunnies on. Quite aggressive look. I don't mind it though. Like to sum it up, what do I look like? I look like kind of like Johnny Drama mixed with like, for some reason, like my muscles are absolutely busting out of this shirt right now. But because it's just like a weird shirt, deep U. How do I put this? Like 90s douchebag that has a little bit of muscles but isn't that jacked, but is like showing it off with aggressive shades and a beanie, which makes no sense. Like in California, like would a beanie make sense? No. Like that kind of look. All right, anyway, enough of roasting myself. I got some updates. Things are kind of working in a weird way, and I wanted to talk about it, as well as just, you know, my regular spiels on how to get famous. And famous is synonymous with successful. I don't really mean like, I honestly don't care if not a single person knows who I am, as long as I can live the lifestyle I want to live. But fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know. The career I chose, fame is an indicator of success. So I like to hammer that one. Yeah. So the studio that we're in, the backdrop you're looking at, if you didn't catch last episode, we finally set up kind of like the stewed. We have a big open. I split my room in half. I did a whole walkthrough. You can see in the last video, we put up these kind of like sound absorbing curtains, and, you know, other than lights and a couch and some decorations and some like foam and shit, like for the most part, we're pretty set here. And, I want to get guests in here. Like the whole reason I wanted to set up the studio was so I'd have like a sound dampened environment to make music, which is priority number one. But priority number two, I'd have enough space where I'd have, you know, a place to have guests on again, because whether it's better, I don't know if it's better for you, the listener, if it's better for me, but I loved having guests on. And, you know, Rona's, we're about to open back up. Well, I think, at least I hope, like I think in about a week, they're going to loosen up some restrictions. And the couch is supposed to arrive this weekend. It's been like a long dragged out process because I'm waiting on a free couch from a friend. Like, I don't know if it's ours to keep, but like it's ours to hold. Like he's getting a new couch, and I think they were going to just store his couch, but I'll store it here. It's also how we've gotten some artwork. Just like people that have big art pieces, instead of putting them in storage, we just like throw them in our crib. But yeah, once I get the couch and like a little bit of a relaxed Rona vibe, I have this whole list of people I've been talking to, like, that I want to have on the pod. We've been chatting, like, oh, I'll get you on the pod once I get the studio set up in this new place. And that was like months and months ago. And we're finally hitting that point, and I'm super excited. So couch coming in. I want to get a little logo behind the couch, some decorations on the wall, put up the LEDs, get a little vibe going, and that'll all be, I'd say within the next couple weeks. There's no reason why that all shouldn't be set up. So get psyched, putting the commitment out there into the world. Otherwise, like, things are grooving. I don't know if you can tell by my douche shades, but like I'm vibing right now. Just still getting up early, working out, just making small improvements, working more. Like I said the last epi or a couple episodes ago, I got a part-time job in finance just to supplement my increased bills, and the fact that Papa Trudeau I'm not going to be on that. You know, I can't be on that government tit forever. You know, it was a blast, I'll be honest. And a part of me hopes they might just toss me a few more bones. But no. Anyway, the place we moved into, like, little bit, I'd say it's effectively, I'm paying effectively double the rent that I paid when I first moved out like 2 years ago. we were paying $860. I was paying $860 at my old place because we were splitting it 4 ways, and then we one roommate moved out. We were splitting it 3 ways. It was $1,100. We were paying each, and now I'm paying a cool $1,550 plus utilities and internet. So you can, I don't even know how. I honestly don't know how I fucking do it sometimes. But my mentality was, I'll find a way to pay for it and just build the environment that you think you want. And it was a total experiment and kind of like making a mistake and just pushing your comfort zone. And I'll tell you what, like, I was comfortable paying $860. I was also just a fucking loser because I didn't need to work that much to pay that, and I would just like, and let's just, when I say I didn't need to work a lot, like, I was working a lot on bullshit. I was spending a lot of I was working morning till night thinking I was a hard worker, but I wasn't making money, and I wasn't making a lot of music. So what the fuck was I working on? Like origami swans over there? Like, what was I doing? But now, if you've been listening, I don't even need to tell you, like, I'm on the whole, like, literally new year, new me, had a big COVID self-discovery. I'm just on discipline, process, trying to be uncomfortable. And so this whole new vibe is like, I was really uncomfortable with the idea of moving into like an adult's place. Like, this is a modern, nice home with space. I got a garage with a little door opener. You know, it's a larger rent, nice utilities, got to furnish it, all these expenses. And that made me uncomfortable. But, you know, I looked at it and I was like, well, and I heard this the other day, and I really like this saying, but like, fear is a compass. And I don't know, that mixed with like, I'm on this whole train, but like, what is life about? Life is fucking meaningless. Like, just do shit. Like, what is money? Like, what is all this shit? Just, life is so short. Just do shit. Like, who cares? So fear is a compass, and I was afraid of it. And I was like, no, like, that means I should do it. Like, kind of build and a buddy of mine, Andrew, I talked to, and he always has these, like, he always paints these pictures. Oh, I'm doing, because he's a home builder. So like, he kind of like describes environments. He's like, oh, like, I'm building this in the house and I'm throwing this in there. And he like describes like these environments. And then when I ask him like what his plans are, and he's like, oh, I'm going to build this like compound up north where, it's got like, he kind of builds his environments. Like he rides dirt bikes and all this stuff too. And we have that kind of relationship. So he built a dirt bike track, and, he's like going to build it. He's got a garage with all his tools, and he works on cars, and he kind of like builds out these environments where he can do the stuff he likes. And he always used to, give me ideas. Oh, you should do this, you should do that. And I'm like, all right, easy there, money bags. I don't have that kind of dough. But like recently, I was like, I don't have that kind of dough because I'm not working as hard as this guy. Like, this guy's fucking, he grinds for it. And so I just started thinking about like how to make, like, what do I want? And how do I, if I can, what am I able to do to my environment to make it like in line with that? And like, I get that some people, if you have like a kid, or maybe your family is tough on money, you have to do a lot of contributing back. Like, you may not have, you may just not be able to build some of these environments, but there's something you can do. And for me, what I could do is I could build a home studio and a home gym, because I had 2 other roommates that were willing to split a hefty rent. We're able to get a place that's got a garage that's big enough for a home gym and a car, and there's a room in the house that's big enough for a bed and a home studio. And I was afraid of furnishing it and the cost, and me and Robbie and I, there's a bunch of cringe moments where like I have to hang up, like, all these curtains are like hung on things screwed into the roof, like all the way around the room, and like all this kind of work and front loaded expenses, and then you do it and you have these debts, and then you go and you need to get a job and you get it, and you kind of just you sell some shit, you make it work. And I don't know, it's things have been there's been no miraculous change. I think that's the most important thing, is like new year. Also, I want to stop saying like. I listen back, I edit all the time, I hear myself say like all the time. I just the classic when you're a speaker, don't say like all the time, and it gets your point across better. I'm a podcaster. I gotta be conscious of these things. So like, I'm just kidding. Anyway, lost my train of thought. Focus. No big changes. That's the point. Studio. You're dumb. I don't know. I'll just rewind. The studio that we built, all these upfront expenses, get a job to take care of it, and the fact that, it didn't. My fear before was that I needed to make the right choices all the time, and I was worried that I'd spend that. Previously I used to think that, I need to buy these things to be better. I need to buy a better computer or a better camera to make better videos, or I need to buy a better interface to make better music, and I need to buy all these plugins, and that was my limitations. So I was worried that, me thinking I needed a home studio was more me like deferring again. But with this new kind of train, this new discipline process train, you kind of address all those issues regardless. So that's my worry at the end of the day. But the fact that I'm trying not to be an overthinker and not a perfectionist, I make decisions kind of from the ground up now, and it helps me to not like kind of fall into those traps. So when I was living at home, I didn't have this home studio set up. I didn't have the blankets, and I was just in my parents' basement, and I could make noise in there, which is great, but it wasn't sound treated, it wasn't spectacular. And I made sure that I started living on like a routine, and my routine was get up early, work out, run, 6 a.m., eat, stretch, start work in the morning, make some money in the morning, and then do music the last couple hours of each day. Make some money, like call it like 9 a.m. till 2 or 3, and then switch over for the last like 2 or 3 hours a day and make music, make sure I fit that in. And so I stuck with that routine sort of deal. And over time, coming into the new year, and I like that I didn't switch on the New Year's. I think it's a very silly but such a human thing we do, where we kind of like we're like, oh, new year, new me. But I wanted to just change when I was ready. So I changed in December, and I was like, I'll just do it for a month. I'll just start. And I set no expectations, no results. I flipped my entire decision-making thing on its head, which used to be find the perfect outcome, plan a way to get to that perfect outcome, and spend a bunch of time on that. And then when you go to execute, you make really like precise, good attacks. And that was where I got wrapped up in all this shit. And so I changed it up to what's like the most. I realized that if I couldn't map anything out, I didn't even know where I could go. So, and whenever I tried to do that, I'd end up mapping familiar paths to places I've kind of been before. So I ripped the opposite. I went, what's like the most obvious things I need to do? What's like the clear next step? If I want to be a musician, what am I not doing? What do I need to do? And it was make music and get better. So make and improve. And all my overthinking was just a deferral from committing fully to. It was like, I'd spend so long just to put out 2 good songs. when every song we'd write would get better. And I'd be like, oh, this next one's better. And I was worried that I'm like wasting creative energy when I just write and I write and I write, and that just sitting there and improving is a waste of time because it would take me so long to get to where I need to be that I might as well just pay people or find people to help me. But the answer is you do both. You do it both, because then you get better. And if I just had a process mentality about music over the last 2 years, I'd be light years ahead of where I am now, and I'd still have worked with all those great people that I paid or we collaborated with, but I would have a much greater skill set and more options. And so it was such a dumb way of working. So yeah, now I was just like, okay, that means every day, if I want to be a musician, I get better and I write. And even if it's not, like I said, this is a routine, and some days you just can't do it with work or life, but that doesn't matter as long as you just get back on track when you can, and you just keep improving week over week. I think that's what people kind of mix up with discipline, and especially me at first. I used to get real discouraged when I couldn't maintain a routine perfectly. But I think the idea is with discipline is that sometimes you just can't do it. That's fine. Doesn't mean anything because you're not results oriented. It's like, okay, you couldn't. And you're just honest with yourself. You hop back in the next day, you hop in the saddle. And week over week with that mentality is much better than when it was like when I was going off motivation, when I didn't get results or like some sort of like motivation feedback loop, just couldn't really fulfill the fire I needed to keep working. I would just crash and like not do things for like weeks. I was like, now I'm worried about missing like a day of constant effort towards a goal. It was just simple. And so I did that routine at home. And it was like, I knew this studio was coming because we'd already signed the lease, and like I had this vision of like a way out, but I wanted to make sure it wasn't a deferral. So I just started doing things before I got it. And I started looking at even building the studio from the ground up, just like, what do I need to start? Instead of going like, oh, I need all this gear or whatever. It's like, no, I just need to dampen some sound. These desks are like beer pong desks. It's like, what do I need just to be able to make music into the computer that sounds good, not bugging my neighbors, and record a podcast and have guests, the bare minimum. And then I'll go from there, and I'll slowly build on it, and I'll just figure out how to afford it. And you just increase your lifestyle and you pay for it. And if I fail and if I fuck up, like it's okay. So I made my best guess, been ripping the routine, and I gotta say, slowly but surely, no miracles, your baselines of improving. And when I say baselines, I mean like when you work off discipline, you constantly psych yourself up, and you constantly like, okay, let's work out, let's make music. Like, okay, you need to do this. But when I've been focusing on like discipline as my base, there's always that mental chatter. You're like, but you kind of you have to remove yourself from it. And I haven't snoozed my alarm yet in 2021, or even since December. And I get up 6 a.m. or 6:30. Like not every day I get up at 6 a.m. Like if I have to do a really, really late night for something, I'll push it. It doesn't matter though. As long as I get up when I say I'm going to get up the night before. Haven't snoozed my alarm. I wake up in the morning, and it started out being I would just run, and I had no plan, no results. I wasn't like, oh, I'm training for a marathon, or I need to get my heart better. I was just like, oh, I said like again. I was just doing something to build mental toughness and something to build routine, and I didn't know what to do. So instead of overthinking it, I just said running. I hate running, but it's good for you. And it was cold out, so I'll just run every morning. Do some form of cardio every morning when I can. Some days it's super snowy, I skip rope, or I do like some like yoga. Like you can get like real cardio, like movement yoga going. And when you don't focus on the results and you just kind of focus on input only, it takes this massive pressure off. that you usually have to motivate yourself and psych yourself up, saying that there's this huge reward, but you just do it because you know you got to do it. And I realized that there's no comfy life where you don't have to do this. At no point will I ever reach a place where you don't have to work on your health, where you don't have to eat right, where you don't have to work on your craft or your music. So I was like, why am I spending so much time thinking about this comfortable like life where I don't have to do all that, where I could just spend my time getting used to it and getting better at it. And so this is where like, it always takes me 30 minutes to get warmed up into the meat of the podcast, but this is where I kind of wanted to get to with it all, is like you motherfucker, the idea that you don't have to work hard or you don't have to work out or anything comes easy to anyone is this big facade. And if you're living life comfortably, there's a really good chance that you're not getting to where you think you could or should. And it's really rare. And I'm not saying I know everything. I'm the knower of all, but it's really rare that someone just has all the predispositions to be successful in all aspects of their lives comfortably. And I think this happens in people. I think you see people that naturally love making, like instead of playing video games or socializing, they can't get enough of making music and just making it all the time and putting it out. And they're like, they love that. And that could be something that leads to success. And they're really comfortable. Maybe there's some people that are really comfortable selling themselves, and they don't care to be on Instagram being, what up, look at me, this is my stuff. And they might be comfortable. And I think that's great and all, but there's got to be some areas in everybody's life, and even for those people, whether it's health or personal or happiness or whatever, where it would be uncomfortable for them to do the required things to be successful at it. And I think I'm fortunate in a way that I'm not naturally comfortable in some of the core things that I have a good mix, and I have the perspective to now realize that growth, because I wasn't naturally comfortable and stuff, I've had to fight and really work for it. So without having to fight for it, I wouldn't have got this perspective of discomfort and the fact that I don't like sales, and I don't like, I'm a perfectionist, and I don't kind of like the idea of just toiling and working away every day and putting myself out there without having a precise, like, clear message or idea or, all this shit. So the fact I've had to work on it has gained perspective. So I think I'm fortunate in that way. And if this new mentality kind of is clicking, then it may be a way to genuinely reprogram your subconscious and make yourself more just get used to the things you got to do. And to be honest, deep down, we really like this stuff. We think ourselves out of liking it, but you really like it. You never regret a workout. You never regret making music. You never regret finishing a project or traveling or getting, that thing for yourself that you really need, or even really want. And making mistakes, we're so scared of it, but realistically, it's never really that bad. And you kind of do the work around it, and you usually get better and kind of learn some things. And I don't know, it's an overthinker thing. And so I saw a few things. Like, these are tidbits. They always pop up on, like, whether it's an Instagram, some guy talking, or TikTok. And the guy was basically like, I think he was on Mike Tyson's podcast, and he was talking about something that really rang true with him. And he said it was, I think Jocko Willink, the SEAL guy, was talking about this. This is his idea, that you are exactly where you deserve to be. There's no greater force that dictates where you are. And I'm going to put a caveat to this at the end, but I agree with this for the most part. And he said it's kind of dark, and it seems like heavy at first, but usually reality is, and we just pretend that it's not the case because it makes us feel better. And most people on this planet are so they haven't kind of elevated outside of the voices in their head enough to see that they are an individual that can make choices outside of their subconscious kind of habits and rhetoric. But if you do, you're able to understand a concept like this, that you are entirely where you are based on the choices you've made and nothing else really. People talk about luck and stuff like that, but sure, but it really is, sure, some people win the lottery, but look at the odds of it. The rest of the successful people, and I'd say the vast majority are where they need to be. And you can get really unlucky and you can get really lucky, but these are in the fringes and they're not something you should ever count on. And that's the idea, right? You should never count on the lottery, never count on the fact that you'll get in a catastrophic car accident. Good and bad things happen in the fringes. And semi-bad and semi-good things happen more frequently if it's like a distribution. But again, you count on the law of averages, which is, for the most part, results are going to come from input and opportunity is going to come from action and change is going to come from. So it's like, why not live in the probabilities? Why not live in the space? And in that probability, for the most part, it's your choices that put you wherever you are. It's you. It's not any external factor. It's not even, your environment and your upbringing and all this stuff. All that did to affect your, where you are now it's what shapes your personality. So yeah, you can blame, your environment and your upbringing and, the people around you and bad stuff happening to you, but you can actually really mostly only blame it for shaping your personality to be someone who gets exactly what you have or lives exactly how you live. And part of that personality might even be blaming all these things for what you are, but it's unfortunate, but it's true that in theory and in the law of averages, if you just acted differently, you would have a different set of circumstances. And you'd also have a different mindset and different this and that. And that works for the most disadvantaged and the most advantaged people, as well as for the average person, which I do consider myself just to be, which is just like, nothing. I don't need to. If I think of myself in any different way, it just it's meaningless. Even if some things are true, it's just you're the average person, which means whether it goes up or down, it's all up to me. It puts it more on you, and so yeah, just something to think about with this discipline and this process-based mentality and perfectionism is really that. I wonder why some people get successful and my music doesn't take off, and why I still have to work, and why doesn't the podcast take off? Why can't I get sponsorships? Why can't I? And it's because I haven't done the actions. I haven't done what I needed to do. And there's no other reason. And it's also just kind of freeing. It takes the weight of everything you're doing off. And my interpretation of the answer, and the interpretation of the answer for a lot of books that you read, including The War of Art, is that the true answer to reprogramming your subconscious, to gaining perspective, to achieving anything is a couple core principles, and that is discipline, routine, discomfort, growth, and not really overthinking everything and just moving forward with process. So that's what I'm trying this year. And that's where we're at. And it's so the progress is there. The no spectacular change that I talked 20 minutes ago, it's a good thing. And I think if someone were to just compare a snapshot of me 3 months ago and a snapshot of me now, the improvement is fucked. Like fucked. Where was I 3 months ago? And I'll put 4 or 5 months ago, right around when I got dumped. I'll put a little snapshot. Not working at all. Businesses sitting there with no one at the helm. I would do maybe a day a week I had some obligations, to my business partner and to keep the lights on, basically. Collect government money, severely addicted to Warzone. And I mean like just playing it as much as I could, not exercising, not making music, barely making a podcast, just skating through it. And just being a shit guy in general. And if anyone identifies with this out there, this person lives inside you. Like, fuck. You fight this. This is what I've fought my entire life. They live inside you. It's a lazy bum. It's there's a comfortable person inside you that wants your body to be soft and happy and easy and not work hard. And I listened to a podcast with another psychologist or psychiatrist. I don't even know what the differences are, who talked about kind of these different personalities. And I've talked about them before as like different personalities and voices in your head. And he was saying that they're more developed and they have their own kind of matrices, just like you think you have. And he said that there's actually like more of these. Your brain actually compartmentalizes your personality. Your outward personality is made up of a collage of personalities, he believes. And his whole theory was that if you start to actually interact with these personalities as personalities and understand their motivations and their drives, you can start to break them down to kind of serve your overarching vision of what you want to be. But that's a different topic. There's a person inside you, a personality inside, at least me, that just wants to be comfortable, that wonders why he's working so hard, that just wants to be happy, just wants to be. And then there's another personality that is never satisfied, that wants to take things to the fucking moon, that wants the most out of life, because the perspective I've been given is that I'm one of the most fortunate people on planet Earth. If you look at all the billions of people, and I mean, even if you were in the bottom 1% of wealth living in Toronto, you are one of the wealthiest people in the world. That blows my mind, how fortunate we are. I'm looking out at a developed city with running water. The fact that we piss in clean water, the fact that our garbage gets taken away, we can shower. I got a roof. Anyway. So this part of me looks at myself and says, whatever lottery, you want to talk about luck, you want to talk about winning the lottery, you're alive. That's statistically impossible. When you look at the universe, it's almost statistically impossible that you are alive with all the different factors that had to line up, and you're here, and you're going to waste a minute of that not trying to take it to the absolute moon. And I have that personality inside me too. And then you have the voice of reason, which mediates, well, life's not just about grinding and working to the bone. It's about enjoying and being in the moment. And like all these conversations, really, you end up moving down a path, but at the end of the day, you are the person above these voices. What makes you a human is that you can listen to these voices. That is the real defining factor between, I think, like thinking and your subconscious kind of personalities that regurgitate learned feelings from a lifetime of experiences. And I hope with action and process I can start to break these down and just find the natural balance where you're working hard but you like it. You're producing but it's not killing you. You're exercising and you're getting healthy, but you're not, again, overdoing it, or like there's a natural balance, and you're socializing, but you're not deferring important work because of it. You're playing video games, but it's a reward, not a deferral. It's like there's these natural balances, and I really think the only way to find them, like I said, the only way to reprogram anything or learn anything truly is by taking your best guess about the first step and then doing that step with process, with routine. And we'll see. This is what this podcast is about, Almost Famous, because I think it's the final leg. I really, truly do. I think this is the final leg of the Too Many Jams journey. 3 years figuring out what to do. Was it a deferral? In hindsight, maybe. But now it's like as simple as make music every day and slowly get better. Reach out, interact with the people that can help you, even though it's uncomfortable, but you slowly build your network. Work out in the morning, go for a run. I'm now running 5Ks easily. It's weird. I hate running, and now I love running. At first, the home workouts, I said I needed a home gym. I need a home gym in order to work out because I need to lift heavy, and that's what and I started to realize that it was a deferral because I wasn't even doing what I could do. I think that's a good indicator of when you're deferring it. It's like, if you say you need something to do something, but you know truly that you could be doing something already. So I said, no, I'm not going to buy the home gym until I've just mastered the process of working out for what working out is truly for health. So my home workouts now are like really mobility focused, doing movements I've never done before. And good thing I didn't buy weights because I'm barely able to do half this shit. I'm shaking. I did a leg workout today. I could almost not walk down the stairs. And I want to go buy a squat rack so it's just like this just slight change in perspective. And I really hope that it's going to come through, and I think it will. As I said, the snapshot from 6 months ago to now, what am I doing now? I get up every day that I can. So I'd say about 4 to 5 days a week, sometimes 5 out of the 5 working days. I get up at 6 a.m. I clean my room. I organize my shit, hang up everything, clean it up, get dressed. I head outside for a run, 3 to 5K. Usually it's a 3K sprint or a 5K jog. If it's too snowy outside, and I do I skip for 10 minutes as long as I can. Or I do like some sort of kind of flowing motion to get the heart going and sweating. I rip a workout 4 to 5 days. I do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, Thursday, Friday. I work. How many jobs now? I've got a part-time job. I've got a part-time job in finance. I got my real estate photography business, which I'm super uncomfortable about selling and reaching out to agents. So like that's what I'm doing now. I have jewelry businesses, one that's doing really well with my partner Annika, and one that I've left dormant, but I'm going to put out there on every episode that if someone is interested in being involved in that, I got a really good thing going with my one partner where she is super into social media and like branding and kind of is the face of the company. Because I kind of I really miss the male jewelry. Like I'm wearing some of it right now. I'm wearing like the necklace and the rings, and we have all this stuff and it's all set up, and we have a brand and we have content and we have websites and we already have existing customer bases, and sales still come in even though it's a dormant business. And my plan is that I'll keep it alive because I do intend to get successful in music and podcasting, which means exposure, followers, which means I can run all merch and all stuff through Wrist and Rye. So, it will be, I can bring those eyes to it, which will help me just breathe enough life into it that I can justify, spending more time on that. But I just, where right now with my process mindset is I've mapped out, stuff I got to give hours to, and I'm really trying to focus on the things earning me money so that I can maximize how much time I spent on music. But it's the classic thing. Now that things are kind of going well and I got a grip on my schedule, I'm like looking for more. I'm like, maybe I could take it on. So if anyone out there is into kind of jewelry and fashion, is good at selling, because that is the thing that takes the most kind of effort for me, and that's why I'm kind of focusing only on doing it for the podcast and for music, because that is my core driver of what I want to be in life as an entertainer, as a musician. If someone is really good at that just for lifestyle, just they're just a cool person, they dress well, they can sell, whether it's even they're good at like online sales, and because I can make content really well and stuff like that, or if someone like that, just have them reach out to me. I've had a bunch of meetings with people that have ideas, and when the right one pops up, I'll pounce on it, and it's an opportunity for anyone that can. The funny thing though is usually I have these meetings and people are really excited, and I'm going to be honest, no bullshit, it's an amazing opportunity. If it was offered to me at a different stage of my life, where someone was like, all this work has been done, you don't have to do any of that, you just get to run a business, because the person running it has different dreams right now, and I've offered this to like a few people, and they just, it's almost like they think, well, there must be a catch, because why? That doesn't make any sense. It must be a problem. And it's funny how the human psychology will if you try to make like these perfect decisions, you kind of talk yourself out of some stuff. But the catch is that it's hard work. So you're not going to come in here and make money. You have to make the money. That's the catch. But that's what there's no business that you would either start. You'd have to do all that same work and then still go and make money. So I think people just they get caught up in that like whole work thing, and they want to back out. They want to do something else that, and there is ways to do it. You can make money if you do the upfront work and build like a sales funnel or a drop shipping company. You can make money in your sleep, but at some point you have to do a boatload of work, whether it's front end loaded, whether it's spread out throughout. Whatever it is, you got to do that work, and it's unavoidable. So, I would say don't go for something like running a jewelry company unless it's an interest of yours, because that's where it kind of fell off for me, is that I was interested in it, but it wasn't a passion. It wasn't, my core thing like music is. And could I set up a drop shipping company and make money? Could I become a day trader with my knowledge and start like those people like, I made $6,000 this week? Maybe, but it would take a boatload of front loaded work and a lot of trial and error. And I'm just not passionate about it. And so I the way I map my life is I'd rather just work on the stuff I want to be good at, and see how that goes. And yeah, so process applies to everything. But yeah, the day-to-day now that's what it looks like for me. And then still in the evenings, I have time for a date. I have time for play video games, to make dinner, to make my meals, to go shopping, to have a bit of a life, even though most of it's locked inside. So it's like a night and day difference. But for me, it doesn't feel like a miraculous change, because I'm not having to work really hard to live like this. I'm just going through the motions. Just doing a little bit better each week, kind of, that's really all that matters. And some weeks are kind of like, I'm like, ugh, like my workouts, were they bad? And where are the results? Like, am I getting bigger? Am I eating enough? And instead of focusing on the results, I just go, well, why don't this next week you just do a little bit better? Did I do enough music? Did I make enough music? It's like, you know what? Who cares? Just do a little bit more next week. And week over week, you do a little bit more, and you get a little bit better. And then all of a sudden your workouts start looking a little bit better. Like I'm looking in the mirror, there was some results are coming through. Not that that's what it's all about. I put a little bit of effort into music, and over a couple weeks, we went from having no musical outlook to the studio's booked in 4 weeks. And we have a plan to finish the 2 songs that we're going to record, as well as we collected 10 more, I think 10 plus more songs that we have written that were just kind of scattered through files and videos, and we collected them all together. And now we have just in a few weeks of just being a little bit better day by day, we have enough music for an album. If we get the money that we applied for a grant for an album, or if we self-fund it or whatever, we have enough music for an album. We have 2 singles ready to come out right away, and a plan of attack at how to finish them, because they're mostly done, because I've been slowly chipping away at them, which is a point. Like when you slowly chip away at something, there's not this big mountain of work at the end. And I slowly chipped away at these 2 songs since December, made demos, made a bunch of parts ideas, and now I have 2 decent quality demos that I can send around to the bandmates, send to the producer. It's just so much simpler. I'm still struggling with the reaching out and the sales and the stuff that is a major barrier for me, but that's okay. As long as I do a little bit. If I do a little bit, that'll be more than what I didn't do for months on end last year. And then each time I do a little bit, you get just a tad bit more comfortable, which means your baseline increases, which means if you're seeking discomfort, if your baseline is cold calling 5 people a week and you're like, whatever, and you're comfortable with it, that used to be a nightmare for you. It's like you just increase these baselines. And now my baseline is like getting up early. Like now my baseline is working out, is running a certain distance, is working a certain amount on music, or making, I don't know. It's all this stuff. It just adds up slowly. And if you're listening to this podcast, because I don't know where I'm going right or wrong. Is this entertainment? Is this self-help? Like, I love comedy. I'd love to be entertaining. But if you're listening to this is obviously, it means it's like striking some sort of chord with you. And there's at least a few hundred listeners, I don't know where it comes from, every episode that tune in. And if it's striking a chord, I mean, it may just be that you like the entertaining ones or the self-help ones, but I would say that if you can take anything from these self-helpy episodes, it's not to let them motivate you, because motivation is it'll just deplete in 2 weeks. It would just be like, have a loose idea of where you want to end up. And for me, I loosely know I want to just be paid to create. And I love all this music, and I would love to just have a tons of music out there and be known for it and be paid for it, and have a free lifestyle, whether it comes from music or whether I end up making that sales funnel so I don't have to be a slave to some sort of hours of a job. Whatever it is, I know I want these general principles. And instead of overthinking the path, I'm just slowly going to chip away every day. And I bet you, and I'm shaking into the camera right now, if you want to bet me, I'll bet you $1,000 by the end of this year, I'll have achieved more than in my last 3 years combined. Like objectively. So like you can see whatever output, any metric you want. That's how confident I am. And it's also nice to put these commitments out there. Anyway, appreciate as always having this outlet. I don't know what to do as usual about bringing the entertainment back. Like I love just when we just get drunk. I don't know when I have guests on if I'm going to ask them these introspective questions as much. a part of me wants to just shoot the shit and have a really good time and make some good content. But like, this is the stuff I care about because it's so important to me to be successful. So I don't know. Maybe I'll find a mixture of both. We'll see. But one thing's for sure, the podcast is now called Almost Famos because I'm fully committed to John Famos and being a rock star. And the music coming out is dope. Again, the 10 songs beyond we have, each one gets better and better. If I can put them all out this year, I will have put out more, almost double what I did in the last 3 years. So that's that, folks. Get psyched. Have a good rest of your week. And COVID cases worldwide have dropped by 60%. And researchers don't know why. So I'm hoping that's good news, not bad news, the sign of something bigger, but a 60% drop in COVID. So this could be a boom after this, and it might just be the right time to have a band in the roaring 20s, the 2020. And we're just going to play live shows. I think they should legalize drugs for a hot minute. I don't know. Everyone is no longer in a relationship for a year. It's just full for a year. And just keep the government money flowing just for a year of like, let's just fire things up again. Just a suggestion. You don't, you know. Anyways, rock and roll. See you later.
I'll protect you, fallen angel in your